Hello everybody, and welcome to another video. So today we will be doing a video on the Caro-Kann defense. The Caro-Kann is an opening that I am currently studying and playing. I used to play the Pierce defense. I'll explain that in another video. The next openings video that I'll create will be on the King's Indian, so just watch out for that. So today we're going to be doing the Caro-Kann, and after e4, c6, this is the start of the Caro-Kann defense. And now there is two things that white can do. He can either play knight c, not there. Come on. He can either play knight c3 or he can play d4. Those are the only two things you need to worry about. Everything else that is played is nonsense. And I will show you what to do against nonsense play. So for now, let's just do d4. Against d4, you push d5. And there was a couple of things white can do. He can either play knight c3, the main line, the advanced variation, e5, or the exchange variation. And there are some things. There are other things like the fantasy variation that is very deadly, and if you don't know what you're doing, you can get punished really easily. And there's other things that can happen. But those are pretty much the only things you need to worry about. Whether it's push, protect, or take. That's the only things you need to worry about. So first we'll look at exchange variation. After this you would take, and then there is this very tricky attack with c4, and do not take this. Do not take the pawn. What you will most likely do is just develop normally, put the knights out, get this bishop out here, play e6, get this bishop out to d3, and then castle short. That is what I would do against the Panov-Botvinnik attack. And so after this, normally there's knight c3, knight f3. There's a couple things to do. The only thing you really need to worry about is just developing normally and watch c4, watch the push on c4. And if they push on c4, just play e. First of all, if they play c4, do not play e6 immediately because then you just block in this bishop. What you do is just normally develop, get this bishop out, and then play e6. Most of the Caro-Kann defense revolves around e6. On almost any variation, you are going to play e6. I guarantee you that. Okay. So back to what we were going to do. Okay. So back to the original starting position. So e4, c6, d4, d5. The advanced variation, the only thing you really need to worry about is just playing bishop f3. This is the main line. There's a couple things to do. Knight f3 is the short variation. Knight c3 is the Van der Waal variation. And then there's some h3 system that's like the tall variation. The only thing you gotta worry about, knight f3, again, just develop knight here, e6, put the bishop. This bishop is going to get locked in, I guarantee that, because this pawn is going to be annoying. And what you're going to do is you are going to chip away at that pawn. So instead of developing normally, some people like to play g6, put the bishop here, stare down this whole pawn chain, and then castle short, put this knight maybe here after playing e6. But yeah. Okay, so that is what you can do against the advanced variation. There is another tricky bastard line. What you can do is play c5. This is the Botvinnik Hearts defense. This is a very, very tricky sideline for white, and if they do not know what they are doing, they can get into trouble very fast. So, after takes, you just pretty much play knight c3 here, and just chip away at both of these pawns. Just chip away. Knight c3 attacking this pawn right here, e6 attacking this pawn right here, and you just go after all of those pawns. Very aggressive. Very, very aggressive. Okay. So back to the start variation. Starting line, not variation. Oh my god, what am I doing? Okay. Alright, so again, e4, not that, e4, c6, d4, d5, and there's one more thing they can do is knight c3. This is called the main line. All you need to do here is you need to take. You need to take. If you do not take, you are going to get into trouble very fast. So you need to take this. And after takes, there's a couple of things you can do. This is knight d7 is the Karpov variation. Knight g f6, knight f6 is something known as the Korchnoi variation or the Bronstein-Larsen variation. I will go over both of them. And then bishop f3 is the main line. f5, sorry, not f3. So f5 is the main line. Normally what they would do is go either here, play knight f3 or something. I don't know. I forget the line. But normally they would just play knight g5. So what they would do is knight g5, then you play back, and then there's stuff with h4. They have h4 here, even here maybe, or bishop d3. What you really need to know is against, mostly they'll play h4 try to trap your bishop. Do not let them do that. Please do not let them do that. So what you'll do is against h4, you will play h6, and if they play h5, you've got this little square for the bishop, and then what will normally happen is they'll play bishop d3, developing the bishop, but then you will trade this bishop, and you will be very, very happy. That bishop is going to be problems in the main line. Normally, the dark square bishop is the one you want to trade, but in the main line, it is going to be the light squared bishop you go on trade. Okay. So that is pretty much all you need to know against the main line. No, not there. Delete. Here we go. Alright then. Okay, so e4, c6, d4, voice crack, hello. D5, and knight c3, takes, and then the Karpov variation, like I said, what's normally going to happen is they're going to play knight f6, developing the knight, or play bishop c4, bishop c3, or bishop c4, bishop d3, something like that. They'll play either. What you would do is you would play this, and then after takes, then you just develop normally. You play e6, put the bishop here and castle short. It's pretty much all you need to know. And then there is a very, very risky line. I do not like playing this line. This line is not one I would suggest, but I'm going to show it to you guys because some of you would like to play that line. I am guaranteeing you that. Okay, so here we go. Okay. So again, e4, c6, d4, d5. Okay. Knight c3, takes, and then this is called the Korchnoi or the Bronstein-Larsen variation. There's two names for this, and this is why. After takes, you have two options. Taking on f6 is called the Korchnoi variation. It's a bit of a more I'd say stable and kind of like safe. It's not as like aggressive. You have this pawn here. It's going to cause problems for white. It's going to cause a lot of problems. It is a very good pawn to have there. It defends from the knight, who will eventually come out on f3, trying to get in on f6. Sorry, not f6. g5. He will try to get on g5. It's a good line. The only thing that's a problem in that is that it could lead to a bad endgame. That's pretty much the only thing. And then taking this way, it's a lot more risky. You leave your king side open. And if you do not create a good structure for the king on the queen side, you're going to get in a lot of trouble. So, and also even when you try to castle queen side, this whole diagonal is going to be open. This diagonal, it is going to be open, and it's kind of an unsafe for the king. However, the good side about this is that if you survive that, you can be in a lot better endgame. And you can get this bishop out on h6 and stare down, try to trade off this bishop. And yeah, okay, so the last thing I want to cover is if they don't play d4. Okay, let me go back. Okay, so if they do not play d4, so e4, c6, what if they don't play d4? There's another thing they can do. There's knight c3. That is called the two knights variation. What you do is the same thing as always. You just play d5. You will always play d5 in the Caro-Kann, pretty much. Then you play knight f3. Then they play knight f3. And then what you do is what will happen is they'll probably play d4 and then c3. And just try to make a structure. So what you'll do is you'll just get this bishop out. You'll not there. So you'll trade probably. Most likely you'll trade. Then you'll put this bishop here, put the knight here, and then probably castle long. Because the two knights variation, they're going to storm. Alright, so main ideas. Normally in the Caro-Kann, your main goal is to attack on the queen side. So a lot of the time in the Caro-Kann, you're going to be castled on opposite sides. Sometimes you'll be castled on the same side. But what you are going to do is, after getting this basic situation, so I'm just going to go through a line here. We'll just do exchange variation, I guess. Knight c3, I guess here. I'm just playing normal moves here. Let's just say gets to here. There, castles. There. Alright, so this would kind of be a position. Not really. I don't know if you can get to this position. But what you would want to do is play like a6, b5, and just start pushing these pawns up the board. Normally, instead of the bishops here, you would have the knights there. So what you would do is you play knight there, bring this knight over here, and just try to cause havoc. Maybe play rook b1, queen c7. So a lot of the time also, if this c pawn's here, normally you would also try to break with c6, maybe even break with f5. Sorry, c5, maybe even break with f5 in some positions. But you do not, I don't think you need to worry about that. So those are the main ideas. Normally you want to make a queenside attack with a pawn storm. And then, yeah, just develop normally. And depending in what position, short castle or long castle, just cause havoc on that queen side. If you cause havoc on that queen side and get in, I will guarantee you will win a lot of your games. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed. I am probably going to live stream a lot more. Probably. So yeah. I'll come out with another video. It will be probably on the stages of chess and time control. So I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.